Welcome back to Half A Hot Rods. I don't care how many ratchet straps, bungee cords, vice grips, wood screws, or 2x4s it takes. This week we're going to get the 57 front end to fit better on the 97 chassis. Here we go. Okay, when we left off with this truck, Matt and I spent like 6 hours out here moving stuff around, taking measurements, setting it on, and it really kind of felt like we didn't make much progress. So, did you have something to add, Hound? Hound's frustrated by our lack of progress too. So I think we identified some of the problems I've got though. I need to figure out how to get the front end exactly where I want it, and then I'll bring the cab to it. So I need to, before I can do that, I need to make sure that my front tires aren't turned at all so that I can use them as a guide, because I'm using the center of the tire, here and the mark on this fender to line everything up and make sure that that opening matches up good. So I need to secure the fenders so they don't go this way as I'm putting them on, and then I need to measure on both sides to make sure my tires are straight, and then we can start setting this front clip on and hopefully get it where we want it. Once we get it where we want it, we'll build some mounts for the front of it and get that tightened down so that it won't move, and that should keep the rest of it from moving. Then we'll bring the cab to the front clip, which is just going to be a matter of a little bit of wiggling. And hopefully that'll get us where we want to be. So, yeah. Luckily we had a cold front come through, so the temperatures have dropped into the 90s during the day instead of 100, 105. Today that cold front is over, so we're out here early in hopes that Hound and I can get some work done before we just melt. So, alright, I guess it's time to stop talking and get to working. Okay, so I think I've got the wheels turned so they're both straight. I've got the same measurement from the back of the tire to the inside of the frame as I do on the other side, and then to this hole on the front of the frame on both sides. So I think my tires are now straight as they can be. The alignment could be off, but I'm not going to be able to tell that with a tape measure and my skills. So now the front tires are straight, so that means I should be able to set the fenders back on and line up that line with the center of the tire and know that the front clip is good and where I want it to be. So now we'll do that. We determined that's the cab height we want. So we're going to bring the front clip back, set it on there, and try and secure it. I'm going to block the tires on both sides so that it doesn't want to roll first. And then I guess we'll try it. I don't know. If you've watched any of the other videos, you'll know I don't know. We're figuring it out as we go. We're going to build a really cool truck, and we're going to do it without actually knowing what we're doing. So. I think we might be a little closer to the tire on this side, but that's closer side to side than we've been so far. This is all the way down, I think, as far as it's going to go in the front, but the front of the cab's going to have to come down now. Yeah, that actually might need to go forward just a hair. But I think we got to get the cab lower in order for it to not be in the way of putting the front clip where we want it. Which means I got to get the hoist out of here, put it in the cab, or, you know, just do it the way I shouldn't do it. And try and hog it around without jacking it up. That's not the right way to do it.
Probably not.
I'm sure that's fine, right? I mean, 3 points of contact's better than none, or 1 or 2. Like it's 75%. That's passing on almost every test we've ever taken.
60% of the time, it works every time.
Oh, is that one touching? Yeah, it's touching. I can't imagine why this isn't perfect. I can't imagine. Hound Dog! How we doing, buddy? How we doing, Hound Dog? Are you ready for your close-up? Where's your nice Hound Dog? Where's your nice Hound Dog? You having fun, buddy? Wag, wag. We having fun, buddy? Okay. Now the problem is my 2x4 is preventing the front clip from going down as far as it needs to. So, I thought that could possibly be a problem. Man, look how good that lines up now. I'll move you around so you can't see. It's perfect.
Don't listen to that guy.
All right. Now what? I would like this to be more low. Just let the air out of the bags, eh? Yeah, now our 2x4 that I added is the limiting factor. So that's cool. It's real awesome. Now what are we going to do, Hound Dog? Hound, I could really use your help here, buddy. It's nap time. I can't help you. Alright, well. Shoot. You don't want to watch me think, I bet. That won't make very good video. Because the steam doesn't actually come out of my ears like one might think it would. I gotta figure out a good way to maintain this relationship with all the stuff in the way and still let this drop another inch and a half. Or I stick to the plan and we nail down these front mounts. Yeah, because the front mount location isn't going to change just because the back end goes down. So let's get these front mounts figured out. They're going to need a rubber bushing, and probably can't see nothing. It's dark in there. I'm going to try and use the 57 mounting pads because they're in a good place and not over designed. However, I don't know what we're going to get into right there. Ooh, that one's directly above the frame. Oh, and we're sitting on the inner fender right now. So, yeah, let's figure out the front mounts. Alright, I figured out the front mount is going to line up with this arrow here. So I'm going to build a platform that just kind of levels this out, and then we'll probably weld a nut to it, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side. A little easier to see because there's not oil leaked all over it, but we'll build a platform that the center is there and it's level. This is where we're probably going to cut the front frame rail off. We're going to hold off on that for a little bit until I'm 100% sure. And then we're going to come in here and just trim these guys here because they're hitting. This one over here is really in the way. It's hitting on the frame rail. So that'll reduce interference there, make them even with the mounts. And then we will test fit again. So I really want to maintain this width, but now my 2x4 is in the way to get everything down where I need it to go. So I need something that's like a hoop but it's solid. I don't think I have that. Not sure what I'm going to do here.
Okay, let me think.
I really don't want those fenders flopping all over. But I've got to let it down more. I guess I could just build something out of wood that would come up and over, but then it's going to flex more. I don't know. Okay, I think I figured it out. I'm not going to build some fancy apparatus to hang this off of. I measured from this hole, the same hole on that side, at the crease right here. It is 59 inches. Put a piece of tape on here and wrote it on there so I wouldn't have to remember it. We're going to pull that 2x4 out and we'll just pick it up with a strap like I did when I first started doing this. It's not my favorite way to do it, but it's going to have to work because we're back to a spot where I need to get this all the way down. So let's get our 2x4 out of there now. Alright, as much as I didn't want to do it, I set the front clip down and then lifted the cab and moved it back. Picking the front clip back up, we're going to bring it back, set it on, adjust, figure out where the front mounts go. And we're only 3 hours in. What do you think, Hound Dog? How are we doing? I don't know. I just want scratches. It's almost time to go in. It's too hot out here. And the temperature is rising. He is not wrong about that. Listen, I know this isn't the right way to use a hook and a chain, but it's light. It's going to be fine. That's not going to tear that out. It's not going to tip over. Everything's fine. It's going to be fine. Trust me, I am a semi-trained unprofessional.
Bandit, you reckless and you live much too hard.
Okay, so we've got my lovely assistants holding up the backs of the fenders. We've got the front sitting on my cobbled up mounts, which need more cobbling. Now I can get in there and move stuff around, get it where I want it. Maybe throw some tacks in there. Wouldn't that be something? And then maybe we can bolt this bad boy down in the front and get started moving the cab where we want it. Man. That's actually not real far off. Throw that light on the floor. Hound, I don't like your attitude. That's real close. Then we got to check it side to side. Then we got to check our width. Oh, that's too far forward. That's real close. Lose that. Maybe a little more. Okay. Maybe a little more. Ooh, everything's moving easy. It's probably because I've got most of the weight of it on those, or a lot of the weight of it. Okay, our mounts are there. They do not look like they're lining up with the first marks I made. No. Look at that gap. I'm sure that's going to be okay. That does not look like it's sitting down. Like there's something else stopping it. This guy. Yeah, we may end up having to cut that frame sooner than I thought. Oh, cut the frame, cut the frame. How does this one look? Not even close. Not even close. Okay, well. How far back do we go? Or do we cut the body to fit the frame? I don't know. I don't know the answer. You guys want to see what I'm seeing? So, I think this body mount comes off, and then we go like an inch back, like the back of this mounting hole. Right here. Go to the back of this guy. Take this whole thing off. And then I think it'll sit down on there, on the mounts like I want it to. On that mount, which is obviously still going to need some more shaping, but it's getting there. This would be a lot easier if I knew what I was doing. Next thing we're going to hit's right here. You may just want to cut that out while I'm at it. It's probably going to have to come out to make room for the radiator. Alright, take it off again. Do some more cutting. Bring it back. Try it again. This is lots of fun. Good thing it's not hot. That'd be miserable. Oh, it's just barely over 90. We're just warming up. Alright, we're back after lunch and dead battery change and full memory card empty and a whole bunch of cutting and trimming and cutting and trimming and back on. The end of the frame rail trimming went okay. Trimming the end of the trimming underneath the valance actually created a new problem. Now the bottom is not as solid as it was. You can see there's some movement there. So we may have to tie some of that back together before we can 100% mount this, but we've got the clearance we need in the front now. We've got it sitting back on there again. The mounts we made attached to the 57 factory mounts look like they're going to hit about where we need them to. Now I just need to figure out where center is, mark those so I can tack them, and then, yeah, then reattach the stuff I cut out, some of it, and then figure out width on the back. And I guess what I'm saying is we made progress, but you wouldn't know it to look at it, because that's how this works, I guess. So here we go. Let's get back to it. Hound Dog, you ready to get back to it? Okay. Oh, just scratch me. Yeah, that's good. Keep doing that. All right. Hound's not going to be much help, so I guess we better get to work. So I just spent the last 15 minutes trying to get the tire to fender relationship the same on both sides. And the problem with that is that I'm not working with something that stays the same because the back of the fender is not fastened. So that can change a lot. So now I got to figure out a new way to center this front end. I don't trust the frame on this truck because I know it was hit and the frame rail on this side was a little boogered. You can see it there still. I know that's the center line drawn on the firewall. So I guess I can measure across the 2x4 and I can measure across here and then lay the level this way and make sure I have a right angle to this and it's centered. That's what we're gonna try. I don't know. It's getting hot out here and getting tired of doing things and thinking I'm making progress and then taking 3 steps back. Yeah, we're over 100 on the shady side now. Is it hot, Hound? Yeah, it's pretty hot, Hound. This is dumb. Let's go lay on the couch. Sorry, Hound. We can't go lay on the couch yet. According to the boss, you can't lay on the couch at all because you're a dog. It doesn't seem like she's being very inclusive to you, does it, Hound? I think that's where I want it forward and back, so we got that much. And just eyeballing it, I mean, I think we're pretty good side to side, but I want to be better than pretty good. Because if I mess this up, I'm going to be looking at it for, the next however many years. Yeah, I can't believe I monkeyed with that long with everything wiggling like that. That was pretty dumb. Problem is it's all round. How are we going to do that? Need a shorter straight edge. That's where it goes. Don't nobody touch it. You're going to mess it up.
You idiot!
I think that's it. I think that's close enough to mark our mounts. And then we can leave adjustment in the mounts. There'll be adjustment in the fenders. There'll be adjustment all over the place. And we should be able to get adjustment made in any errors I made to overcome them. So, I think that's pretty even with this. Again, we can't look at the top of the fender because it'll move 3/4 of an inch based on where the back of the fender is. We can measure the center of the front just for giggles. I think we're real close.
That's not how that works.
I think we're good enough for who it's for. Good enough for who it's for. Good enough for government work. Ask me how I know. All right, just all I've got left to do is everything else. Hound dog, are you gonna help? You are drooling on the floor. You're butt-sgusting. Don't wag your stump at me. You're butt-sgusting. Oh, this hound dog. Oh, this hound dog. I told you it was hot out here. You should have stayed in the house. You don't listen. Now we take it back off, make those mounts fit there, weld them on, weld a nut on, and then we can put it back together. Well, we figured out how these mounts need to sit. Now the question is, do I do studs on there, or do I do a nut on the bottom? Or I'd love to do a nut and a bolt because that would be easier, but I think it's going to be too hard to get to the nut on the bottom. So I'd either weld a nut to the other side of that or put a stud in there. It would be a little harder to get it lined up, but when I did, it would just drop right over it, and that would be cool. That would be very helpful. Yeah. So we got some playing around to do and making sure of what hardware we're going to use for that. And yeah, then we'll have the front end, the front part of the front end mounted up, and then we'll be able to go back and put the cab back up to it and figure out exactly where the cab needs to sit so we can start nailing it down. So we're closing in on 8 hours of work today. I don't feel like I got 8 hours worth of work done, but I was definitely working that long. But we're figuring it out. I think we've located the front clip front to back and side to side where we want it. So yeah, that's big progress, because that relationship between the fender well and the tire is the most important thing on this thing. So everything else I think we can make fit. But there we go. We got mounts. We're just not mounted yet. We just have mounts. What do you think, hound dog? Have you had enough for one day? I feel like I should quit, but I don't want to. Hound dog. Hound dog. Oh, there we go. There's my buddy. It's getting hot, huh, buddy? Uh-oh. Another text. Alright. We might do a little more, or this might be it for this one. I'll be right back. Alright, I got lots of other stuff that I need to get done, but I couldn't bring myself to leave this in this condition. So I went to Tractor Supply this morning and I got some bolts and nuts. Figured out that was 7/16. So I went and got an assortment of links that I think we'll need, nuts and washers and lock nuts. And yeah, so let's get these mounts welded on here, and then we're at least going to get this temporarily bolted on. I'm going to put it on with a regular nut and bolt right now. We'll use a lock nut later, because I don't know if we're going to end up pulling it off again, probably. So we'll get the front bolted down, and then next time around we can come back and fix the cab and get it where it needs to be, hopefully, and all that. So, what's the first step, Hound? First step is scratches. Yeah. Huh. And then the next step is going to be, let's get these mounts cleaned up a little bit and welded in. Yeah? Cleaned up and welded in, Hound? Okay. Oof. Yeah. I thought that was magnetic. Yeah, it's not great. It is, however, an improvement over what I usually do. I think it'll hold well enough for more mock-up, and then maybe we'll have Wyatt come back and burn it in good for us. That's, yeah, also not great. That's better than I usually do. I think it would probably hold. But we're going to do better. We're going to get help and do better. If you've got suggestions, please, by all means, help me out. I'm learning here. I think I still need to slow down more and let it make sure I'm getting both pieces. That seems to be a problem for me as I get up on the high side and not down on the low side. So I basically just stack weld on one piece and not the other, which is really not helpful at all. So, all right, we're going to hit this with a hammer a couple times, make sure they're not going to fall off, and then we'll set the front end. No, I guess we'll hit it with a little hammer. I don't want to hit that corner too much because it's not supported. What do you think, Hound? Is it good? Is it good, Hound? Yeah, it's pretty good. I can't see it though because it's probably trash. You guys saw me bolt these mounts to the front clip and then set it on there and then mark it and mark it and mark it and mark it some more, and somehow I still managed to miss. So the mounts are too close together and I can't get both bolts in there. I thought with the amount of slop in the holes in the mounts, because they're bigger than the 7/16 bolts I got, that I'd have room for adjustment. But I've got them, yeah, they're too close together, so I can't get both bolts in at once. So my choices are slot that hole or cut it off and move it over 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch. Either way, front clip has to come back off. If I had a torch or a die grinder that would make this easy, I don't have either. hound dog. That makes me want to keep going, buddy. Well, that gets it where we can start fitting the cab up where we need it, right? Those bolts are just dropped through there, and they're keeping it from moving side to side, forward and back. And how's that look? It looks kind of close at the back, but remember, this is liable to come out a little when we put the cab on. And we can bring that up too. So this is not for sure where it's going to end up, but it's real close. The biggest measure, I think, is the difference at the front, because that's pretty solid. The difference at the front. And we got 4 fingers. Ooh, we only got 3 fingers on this side. So this side needs to come forward, right? Or this side needs to go back. See, that movement made this one go back a little. So we're real close on the front clip. And remember, we've got some flex where I took some material out of that core support. But yeah, now we need to figure out the height of the back of the fenders. And in order to do that, we need to move the cab back forward. There's a lot of, you think you're making progress, and then you take 3 steps back. 1 step forward, 3 steps back, 2 steps back. I don't know. 17 steps back. But that's what the goal was for this week, was to get that front located. And I think we've done that. I might go ahead and slide the cab back in there just for giggles, because once we're going to have to get the cab kind of close to where it goes before we can finish up the front, and then we can for sure locate the cab, and then we can start doing some welding. And I mean for serious welding. Okay, I guess that's the best we can do in a day and a half's worth of work with 105, 106 degree heat. But we did get the front end much better than it was, and we only had to pull it off 5, 6, 12, 57 times to get it to fit. Come back next week and we will work on getting the cab to fit better. That's the next step. So as always, thanks for watching. I appreciate you coming back. If you like what we're doing, come back and see us again. As always, remember, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.